Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on when you're watching. Today we're going to be doing a review on the G&G RK47 electric blowback. To start off with, everything on this gun is metal. There is one area on this gun that I could find is plastic, and that is underneath the cover right in here. All this is basically a dust cover for the internal gearbox. I've popped it off, and it really serves no function other than a dust cover. So, that's great news. That's nothing that's going to be breaking on you at all. Everything else is all metal. Metal cover, metal body, metal well, you can get plastic magazines too. Metal barrel, metal gas tube, metal sights. Everything on this gun is metal. Sling mount, of course. Selector switch, everything. And everything that you see on here that is not metal is real wood. Real wood foregrip, real wood pistol grip, motors housed inside of it, and real wood stock. Now, unlike these standard Airsoft AK47 on the market, where most of the batteries have to be stick-type batteries that go in underneath this cover here, the battery goes into the stock, which I personally prefer because you can fit a fairly large battery in there, and honestly, I'm not sure why more AK47s are not wired to the back. It just makes sense. Now on to replacing your battery. As I mentioned previously, the battery is held in the stock, which is held on by 2 Phillips screws. There we go. Now you'll be able to see inside of your stock your fuse, connector, and yes, it is indeed real wood and not sanded in there. Right now I'm running a G&G 9.6 volt 1600 milliamp nunchuck type battery out of here on a partial charge. Please note, simply insert that. Actually, I'm going to change this up. The wires on this are fairly stiff, so you really have to work with it. There we go. Batteries all together. Now mush those wires down. Put your butt plate back on. And you should be good to go. Alright, so now that you know how to install the battery, let's move on to the build quality. This thing is solid as a rock. I feel perfectly comfortable running around an airsoft game, dropping this on rocks. Heck, the first time that I got this, when I was installing the battery to shoot, I dropped the thing. This is not going to break on you. It's an incredibly solid gun. There's only a little bit of minor wobble, and you can't even see it in the video. Really, the wobble on this gun is little to none, and what there is fairly negligible. At the end of the video, I'm going to give a link to another video on my personal channel, Airsoft Team Minnesota. Like, comment, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. And that is a video that I actually put when I was trying to trade this and sell it out. Currently, I do have a trade, or a sale, lined up, and I can use that money to buy a KWA SR12 off another guy that I know, but that's beside the point. Everything in this gun is completely stock right now. The only thing is the previous owner had the motor reshimmed. So I believe it is a 435 millimeter, correct me if I'm wrong, inner barrel, and that actually, I was really surprised at the accuracy that I got out of this thing. It shoots like an M4. It really does. It actually shoots better than most of the M4s that I've shot. The barrel's a little bit longer, and you can definitely tell. The trigger response on semi-auto with a 9.6 volt, it's not perfect, but it's definitely superior to most guns out on the market. Along with that, the full auto capabilities of this gun are really exactly where you want them. You're not going to be spraying out 25 BBs a second, but you're also not doing, 10 BBs a second that you get out of an 8.4. So it's right in the middle. I had this chronoed about a week ago, and I was getting about 14 to 15 rounds per second out of this on a fully charged 9.6 volt, which is perfect because you can get BBs down range, but you don't burn through your magazines. Now, this being an AK, it is really not designed the same way that, your M4 or your M16 is for upgrades and customization. So this is really where you have to get creative. You can buy an area on the side, get a rail mount and put optics on it. That's aftermarket parts. Magazine options are fairly typical to any AK47. Right now I have in a 80 round mid-cap magazine, 600 round polymer. High cap, you can get a winding key for this. It's a waffle mag style. And then another 600 round standard AK style high cap. You can really run any of these magazines if you want. Now if you flip the gun over to the other side, you're going to notice two sling mounts. Your first sling mount here is kind of a rotating pivot sling mount. This I use when I attach my 1-point bungee sling to the gun. That way, when you're shooting, you can just drop the gun to go and work with magazines, grab a sidearm, whatever you want. That'll hold nice and solid. There's also a second sling mount up front on this area of the gun. That is if you want to run the standard AK47 style sling, so you can sling it over your shoulder. But I really don't see those very often in Airsoft. So now we are on to our iron sights. Typical AK47 style iron sights. You pinch it and you have a slider to increase your range and decrease your range. Fairly basic. There's really no lateral adjustment for it. On the front sight, it's a standard AK front post. You can use a post adjusting tool for that. Mine currently is shooting a little bit to the left, but I just haven't gotten around to adjusting that. The hop up for your gun is found right behind your bolt. It is a simple sliding mechanism right here. Move it forward for less hop up and rearward for more hop up. The current hop up right now is a little bit stiff, but there's a small Phillips screw that you can loosen maybe an 1/8 to 1/4 turn. That should fix that for me. But I like my hop up a little bit more stiff. It really doesn't move then, so I don't have to worry about it getting messed up mid-game. Okay, so now when you take this cover off, you can see the inner workings of your electric blowback function. I'm not sure how well you can see it with the camera, but there is a black rod right here that when you start shooting is going to be pulled back, cocking a spring, which will then be used to cycle your blowback action here. Spring compresses, of course, and then launches the blowback back forward. It's a fairly simple operation, not a whole lot to it, not a whole lot that can go wrong, which is definitely a positive feature to have in an electric blowback. Alright, now onto the performance of the gun. I used a chronograph on it about a week and a half ago now, and it was chronoing at 367 to 372 using 0.23 gram BBs, and using 0.2s I was bouncing between 398 and 402. So it's fairly consistent on the FPS, and it is exactly where you want it for field, right at that 400 FPS level. I commented also on the rate of fire earlier, so now that I have the battery in here, you can see the rate of fire. And yes, when you do see the gun moving back and stuff, this thing actually does have a small amount of recoil with the electric blowback function too, which I kind of like. It's not very noticeable when you're shouldering the gun, but when you are holding it out, it does want to push back. So, just kind of another quick thing. Also, semi-auto, fairly responsive, or fairly good trigger response. If you're looking for an AK47, this is an incredibly solid and well-built option to go with. The performance is exactly what you want out of an Airsoft assault rifle. It has much greater range than the M4, however it has less customization. Alright, as I stated earlier, there will be an annotation at the end of this video that will go over a quick shooting of this gun. It'll give you a general accuracy test and you'll be able to see the blowback function in more detail. So, thank you everybody for watching. Please subscribe to Team Tightbore Airsoft for more quality airsoft reviews, gun cleaning tutorials, gear reviews, and of course our epic gameplay footage. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.